So that line is showing me where my next piece of fabric's gonna go. Now you take the opposite. If this is a dark, now you take a light, and you take the middle size strip of the light colors. Middle size strip, and you put it good sides or right sides together. You want to just slightly overlap here at that corner, and you want to put the raw edges together, and you want to make sure that you have at least 1/2 inch of fabric hanging past the line that was stitched right here. 1/2 inch hanging past it. Just match them up and stitch the seam. Now, pull that strip of fabric back, smooth it out, and finger press it. And pull it back, and you can hold it back even a little bit while it stitches, and stitch the next color stop. This will hold that fabric in place. You could use some blue painter's tape here. Now it's important, you're going to trim this, but you're going to trim this leaving a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So trim down here, and you're just going to cut straight across and trim that piece off. Now you can come up and trim along the side here and along the other side. And the next color that's going to stitch is another placement line, showing you where the next strip of fabric's going to go. Same fabric you just used. And you're going to put it again, so just a little bit of it hangs off towards you, and most of the strip goes off to your right. Most of the strip should go off to your right. And stitch that. Again, flip that strip so the good side is now up to the sky. Fold it back, finger press it, and stitch the next color stop that holds that fabric down. We're on color number 8. So you can come in and trim along the top, but you need to leave a 1/2 inch seam allowance outside here. You need to leave 1/2 inch there. So you can kind of trim along the edge of your hoop. And then you can trim along the top here. And again, you need to leave a seam allowance sticking out there. The next color that stitches is again a placement line. Okay, color number 10 is a placement. And now you're going to use those triangles that you cut. You cut squares and then you further cut them into triangles. You're going to use one of those triangles. You're going to put it good sides together. Just kind of match up your raw edge with the other raw edges of fabric that are there. and then stitch that seam. And then pull that triangle back down to the corner. Finger press it in place. And you may have to hold it or use a little blue painter's tape and stitch the next color, number 11. And that's it. The first half of your quilt block is complete. You can take it off, trim your stabilizer, re-hoop, and do your next one. And just set those aside and keep making those until you want to move on to the next step. Okay, so we've created our first half and we've set that aside. Now we've picked our second design, and this is the one that's a full square and has the quilting in it. So you know that's the second half. So the very first thing that stitches, and I've already stitched it out here, the very first thing that stitches is just a square that shows you the overall size of what the block is going to be when it's finished. Okay? Once that sews, this is, before you sew the second color, this is where you take your batting. If you have fusible batting, you want the shiny side or the fusible side down. If you have batting that isn't fusible, it doesn't matter. You're going to slide. Okay, so you just slide your batting underneath there. And you want just a little of it to extend on each side. And you can kind of see it through the stabilizer. So you can pull until you have just a little bit on each side. And then you want to sew